Ministry of External Affairs holding a press conference on Indians stranded in Iraq. Let's listen in.
I have here with me a list of approximately 11 major companies where Indian nationals are working. For example, the company with the largest number of Indian nationals is located in Najaf. This is a company which has between 2,000 to 2,500 Indian nationals. We did receive complaints that there were several amongst them who wanted to return. These came from individuals and also these came from organizations. Immediately we got in touch with this company and were told that they had arranged to send back, although there was no security threat, but it was a concern. There were some Indian nationals who wanted to return, and they had sent back 28 of them at their own request. We also immediately got in touch with those Indian agents who had sent these Indian nationals to work with the company, and we will have a meeting with that company at its headquarters with our mission personnel being present there in Najaf, so that we ascertain how many of these Indian nationals would like to return, what are their current obligations, and how we could facilitate their return. Similarly, there are smaller numbers in Kirkuk, in Basra, and a large number in Basra. Now I'd like to explain that Basra is approximately more than 500 kilometers south of Baghdad. It is not an area anywhere near the conflict zone, and I'd like to request some of you who are running these TV visuals saying that those people are in imminent danger, that there is no such threat for them. Sure, there is a concern among them, and if anybody would like to return, we will try and work this out. However, if we need to work this out, we need to work this out under the normal contractual and legal terms under which these people are working there, because that is not a conflict zone, and therefore we cannot use forced measure requirements there. So let me try and summarize for you. We remain engaged with a variety of companies, 11 by my record, or actually 12 by my record, largely in the southern part of Iraq, but some also in the northern part, which is with the Kurdish government there. There is a northern part of Iraq where by all accounts, again, there is no safety issues there. But that said, we will continue to assist everyone who would like to to be facilitated in case he wants to return. However, there are staples in this that include following the norms of the host country, and we will have to do that. It is normal in those areas to have issues of an employer-employee nature, and we are working those issues out one by one systematically in accordance with the local laws. I will stop at that, and if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them. Thank you. Yes, Ashish?
Sir, what is the condition being put by the people who have held our Indians hostage? As in, I'm asking this question because, sir, is there a real danger of these people using them as shield against Iraqi forces?
Ashish, I think I'm on record of having said there is no safety in captivity. That said, we are every day in trying to obtain information, corroborate information, and then confirm that information. And based on that, I can confirm to you that they remain unharmed as of now. Yes, Geeta?
The Iraqi ambassador has said that there is no confirmation or no information regarding the 40 odd Indian workers having been captured. that he has no information regarding their capture. Is the government working with Red Crescent and the other humanitarian groups for confirmations on the capture? Because it seems like the Iraqi government is unaware.
Geeta, I mentioned to you, we have opened several doors and information is flowing. We are assimilating this information and only then providing to you. I haven't used the word that you used. I did indicate that they were in captivity. The rest is for you to use a word of your choice. I've used a word of our choice, and that remains our view based on information that we have received from several sources. Yeah, just a minute. Shailendra.
Sir, I would like to respond in Hindi.
जी, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ. जैसे आप जानते हैं, मैं तो दक्षिण भारत से हूँ, तो मेरी हिंदी कुछ टूटी फूटी सी है, लेकिन मैं कोशिश करता हूँ.
सर, ऐसी खबरें आ रही थी कि एक भारतीय की मौत हुई है इराक में दिल का दौरा पड़ने से. क्या ऐसी जानकारी आपके पास है? अगर है तो उसकी बॉडी को वापस भारत लाने के लिए क्या कुछ किया जा रहा है?
देखिए, ये मैंने भी देखा है. मैंने हमारी एम्बेसी से पूछा है कुछ बस 10 मिनट पहले. अभी तक उनके पास उस कंपनी से इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं आया है, और अगर आएगा तो ये मेरा जहां तक ख्याल है, ये सदर्न इराक से हैं, और सदर्न इराक में ऐसे कोई सेफ्टी इशू नहीं है. और अगर ये मामला हुआ है तो हम बिल्कुल जैसे नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर है मदद करने का, इसमें मदद करेंगे. Well, Sinjoy, I did check up with our mission some time ago about the possibility of an Indian worker in southern Iraq who may have succumbed to a heart attack. Now, when I checked that up, they hadn't yet got confirmation from the concerned company, because it is normal for the company to inform the mission and then further action is taken. It is possible that the company is completing their procedures at their end before they come to us. But should this unfortunate event have taken place, we will assist the Indian national to ensure the return of the mortal remains of that Indian national in accordance with standard procedure. But at this stage, I can't confirm what you are saying. Yeah, it's over. Yes.
सर, चूंकि आप लोग कई दिनों से काफ़ी एफर्ट्स कर रहे हैं उनसे बात करने के लिए, उनसे इंफॉर्मेशन गैदर करने के लिए, क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि इतने एफर्ट्स के बाद एक आदमी कोई जिसको हम मीडिएटर कह सकते हैं, वो हम लोग अभी तक ढूंढ पाए हैं जो कि दोनों पार्टी से बात कर सके?
मैंने ऐसा कोई शब्द यूज नहीं किया. यस सर. फंसे हुए हैं. मैंने नहीं कहा कि फंसे हुए हैं.
अराउंड 10,000 लोग.
लेकिन मैंने शब्द फंसे हुए नहीं इस्तेमाल किया. मैंने कहा कि हिंदुस्तानी तकरीबन 10,000 से ज्यादा इराक के शहरों में साउथ में और नॉर्थ में रहते हैं.
क्या ऐसा भी है कि कुछ इलीगल लोग भी वहां रह रहे हैं जो इंडियंस हैं?
ये हो सकता है. इट इज नॉर्मल in where there are large number of expatriates that some have issues relating to visas, some have issues relating to their entry, and some have issues relating to their contractual obligations. These issues will have to be addressed one by one, and in some cases we are addressing them. It is normal in cases where there are large number of Indians to have these issues. These are not new issues. These are not issues that we are not aware of. These are not issues that we have not addressed in the past. And let me assure you, we will work through these issues and address them and assist our nationals.
So, of all these 10,000, how many, even now, are in this difficult area, and how many have you managed to pull out as of now?
Sanjay, I think if you start, I had said 120 in the conflict zone. The rest are not in the conflict zone. So let us focus. I began by saying 120 when this situation started in the conflict zone, of whom 17 had moved out of the conflict zone. That leaves two large groups, one of 46 Indian nationals who are nurses in Tikrit, and others who we believe are in captivity, who are in captivity. This is a large group. Other than that, there are small number of Indian nationals elsewhere, and we are working to evacuate those in that category. So let me try and summarize for you three small groups: one of the nurses, one of those in captivity, and others finally who make the rump, who we are working to evacuate from that region. No, we will finish Iraq. Anybody else? Yes, Naz?
That you were able to establish the location of the abducted persons. Any further progress?
When we have that, when we have information which is corroborated and confirmed, we will share with you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
What is government of India's reaction to the political situation in Iraq?
I think we have put out a statement on this. This is available on the 15th. We did put out a statement, and we will send that to you. Gautam, on anything else now?
Yeah.
No, I have finished my 6 to 8 questions. I began by saying that. Yes.
Sir, today the Foreign Secretary is holding meeting with the ambassadors and high commissioners of the neighborhood countries, including the SAARC countries, and EAM is chairing that meeting, as the report says. Can you give us some detail about the meeting? What kind of meeting?
Well, let me confirm to you that yes, the External Affairs Minister is currently chairing a meeting of all our heads of missions from the neighborhood. Now, this meeting is geared towards maintaining the momentum that was set in motion of giving priority to our neighbors by the Prime Minister when he invited them to his swearing-in ceremony.